When you're making a list of the most deadly and fearsome mobile suits, the Guntank isn't something that you immediately think about. Sometimes it's quite the opposite even, with the Guntank being considered as a failed mobile suit or like a stepping stone for the Federation to develop actual mobile suits. But today, I'm here to tell you that you should not under any circumstances underestimate the Guntank, and least of all, some of its descendants. Let's go over some of the most powerful ones out there, shall we? First up, we simply have the basic RX-75 Guntank. Good old reliable. Here's something people often forget about, perhaps due to the influence from the origin. In the OG Gundam, the Guntank is just about as cutting edge as the gun cannon and the Gundam, with the same Luna titanium alloy and the same core block system. So not only was the Guntank incredibly durable, it could also be combined with the other Project V mobile suits. On numerous occasions, we've seen the Gundam using the Guntank's treads, but who's to say that the opposite isn't also possible? Now, I hear some of you laughing, but that's only because you're outside of the Guntank's effective range. Or so you think. Those 120mm low recoil cannons don't play around. They can hit a target 260 kilometers away. If a Guntank was in Washington DC right now, it could hit Newark. And we're not done yet. By activating its Psychomo system, which it definitely totally has according to some maybe not quite canonical sources, it could pull off an all-range attack. So you'd better think twice before disrespecting the Guntank again. Another prime example of how powerful a Guntank could be is the ground assault type Guntank. During the 1 Year War, this was no doubt one of the scariest things you could encounter. They were filled to the brim with all kinds of different weapons, and they were ridiculously fast. The only problem you'd have while piloting one of these things is deciding how you want to kill the enemy. Shower them with the 56-tube rocket launcher, penetrate them with the 220mm cannon, cook them with the flamethrower, or just straight up run them over. Seeing one of these on the battlefield could really ruin your day, or it could really save it depending whose side you're on. And the Guntank's influence would still continue after the 1 Year War. While most of the Guntanks were admittedly used for less important jobs, the Guntank-inspired Loto would be an incredibly important machine. It might not have the raw firepower, but it was used by the Federation's Special Forces, and it would serve as a kind of testbed for miniaturized mobile suits. And in addition to acting as a small mobile suit, it could also serve as a troop carrier and even as a mobile headquarters. On the tactical level, the Loto was truly unsurpassed, making it one of the most powerful Guntanks in its own tactical way. But the Loto wouldn't be the end of miniaturization. As the years and even the centuries went on, technology just got smaller and smaller. We are now 60 years after the end of the Second Surface Reclamation War. Humanity has been driven underground by a new mechanical threat known as the Raptors. But even in these desperate times, the memory of the Guntank still shines bright. Or maybe it was precisely because the situation was so desperate that they once again turned to the Guntank. Maybe the machine that had once saved the Federation from Zeon would now save humanity from the Raptors. I present to you Mecha Shifty, far superior to Human Shifty, which is definitely saying something because Human Shifty was also not to be underestimated, at least when she wasn't Xuan. And if Mecha Shifty is too long of a name, you can also call her Messy for short. I'll stick to Mecha Shifty for the rest of this video though. Now, Mecha Shifty was an autonomous AI-powered robot that was perfect in almost every sense of the word. She was waterproof, had treads instead of inferior legs, and she had plenty of weapons at her disposal. Her eyes are lasers, she appears to have 2 missiles stored on her chest, Her arms are equipped with death arm grenade launchers, and her ultimate weapon is called the Planet Destroyer. We don't get an exact explanation as to what this weapon is, but it seems to be some kind of beam weapon that is fired from her mouth. And it seems to cause a nuclear explosion. And if shit really hits the fan, she can also self-detonate. We don't know how she powers all of these weapons, but we know that she likes drinking gasoline, and that the bang-like structures on her head are for cooling. She only has two problems. Her chest is inferior, which is a fact that even she had to admit, and her personality is definitely all kinds of screwed up with an incredible superiority complex. And it's this superiority complex that drives Mecha Shifty to create several variants of herself, which she wants to use to wipe out the inferior human race. In a large factory somewhere on the surface, she begins mass-producing small, medium, and large Mecha Shifties, and in a secret factory in the Ark, she began work on her masterpiece, Mega Mecha Shifty, or Mega Shit for short. But before she was able to complete Mega Shit, we, the pit boss, are able to teach this cold-hearted machine to have compassion, and they lived happily ever after. Except that Mega Shit systems were actually already online, and she was able to hack into Mecha Shifty's factory. She created a second Mega Shit and an armada of small, medium, and large Mecha Shifties, all of which formed a neat little doomsday army that was now marching on the Ark. And the only ones capable of defending it were the original Mecha Shifty and regular Shifty. But they couldn't do it alone. There were just too many of them. But then, just as all hope seemed lost, the Mecha Shifty Rangers arrived and took out Mega Mecha Shifty with their ultimate attack, the Galaxy Destroyer. The rogue Mecha Shifty army was destroyed, peace had returned, and humanity was once again saved by a Guntank variant. And believe it or not, this wouldn't be the last time. Sometime later, the Ark would be threatened by the giant amalgamated monster Neo-Ultimasaurus. Once again, all hope seemed lost, but Mecha Shifty rose to the occasion and took out this Gaio Gygar clone. Mecha Shifty was heavily damaged during the fight, and many even believed that she had died, but thanks to her super alloy triple Zeta, she was able to repair herself. She would live to defend the Ark another day. Mostly from her own creations. Because she could, she began work on a machine to surpass Mega Mecha Shifty. Mecha Shifty Mark II, better known as Mekami Shifty, sometimes also known as Missy. There was just one problem. Just as the project was nearing completion, Mecha Shifty grew bored of working on Mekami Shifty, and she just couldn't be bothered anymore. So yeah, she basically abandoned Mekami Shifty and then cut off the electricity, the water, and even the internet of the secret base where she was building Mekami Shifty. Unsurprisingly, this led to Mekami Shifty wanting revenge. Shocking, I know. Mekami Shifty then set out to collect the remains of Mega Mecha Shifty and began rebuilding her in the same secret base where Mecha Shifty had built Mekami Shifty. But that's not all. She would also mass-produce upgraded versions of the other Mecha Shifty models. And then, together with the rebuilt and upgraded Mega Mecha Shifty, they planned to take control of the Ark. The Ark's merchandise industry, that is, because their master plan was to start a merchandise business featuring Mekami Shifty merchandise. An endeavor that was brutally crushed by Mecha Shifty. I'm beginning to believe that she's the real bad guy here. I would tell you how this story ends, but I don't think YouTube would appreciate that. So here's the final shooting, replicated by an evil Guntank and a tragic android. And to wrap things up, there's also a slightly different version of Mecha Shifty that appears in a fake movie trailer. Here, it's an actual mech that is piloted by regular Shifty. So yeah, Guntanks. Let me know down below which one your favorite is and why, whether it's from Gundam, Nikkei, or somewhere else. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a safe April Fool's Day, and I'll see you all next time.